Hey guys, welcome back again to Rebuild Reality, where as always we talk about who we really are, why we're here, and how all of this 3D stuff really works. I am your host, Sky Cheyenne, and today we're going to be talking about a case of mistaken identity. Because really, that's what's going on here, isn't it? Every single one of us have a case of mistaken identity. And that's because this is all we know. This is all we really remember for most everybody. So there's nothing to compare this to. But when we look at the facts, when we look at all the data, all of this that we think is a real, true reality completely falls apart. Because when you look at matter, there's nothing there. The closer you get to it, the more it dissipates into absolutely nothing. And that's the truth. When you look at this illusion closely, it completely falls apart. So this is really if you put it together, what's really interesting, because this is why we are able to manifest. This is why we're able to consciously manifest, because obviously we're manifesting all the time, 24/7. We just never realized it before. We never realized, oh, that's what I'm doing. This is the mechanism of what's actually happening here is when I think about something, when I imagine it, that's what's creating all this stuff. And if it wasn't that to begin with, if we weren't consciousness that creates through the medium of imagination, then with imagination, we couldn't go in and change it. So it has to be that it's made out of that for us to be able to go in and change it in the first place. So I think that we really have to spend time sitting with this, because we go on to all these other things about how to create this, how to create that, and how do I do blah, 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 But when it comes down to it, what's the one most important thing that we need to do is to really sit with the fact that this really, really isn't real. This really is a simulation, a hallucination, a virtual reality, whatever name you want to call it. That's the truth. And I think that that's something that we really have to face, that we think that we are a human in a body and that we live in this world of matter. But when we face facts, the truth is that that's just not what's going on here. Because when we really sit with this and we really face it and we really accept it, well, it just kind of blows everything else out of the water. Then all of this stuff about how do I do this and how long do I do that and how do I imagine, or what worked for you or what worked for that person, or any of it, it all falls apart. None of it matters anymore, because none of it is matter. If this is an illusion, you are living in a simulation, then where's the problem? There are no problems anymore. No struggle, no life and death, no beginnings and ends, no duality, because we accept it's just this one thing, and it's all coming from here. We're the ones doing it. We've always been the ones doing it. We're the ones creating, and we have that ability to, but we don't understand this mind-blowing ability that we have to create something that is this, well, to us real, because to us it feels like it's real, but that's only because it's the only thing we know. So we don't have anything to compare it to. So if we did, then we'd be like, oh, that's not so real. Because when you get out of the body, well, then you look back and you're like, it's like an old coat. You're like, why did I even worry about that? Why did I think that that was any trouble whatsoever? It becomes just so non-important. It's all the seriousness is gone. And when we really sit with this information about accepting that the truth of reality, the truth of our lives, then we lose all the seriousness. then the struggle ends, then the fear ends, then all of the problems, all the issues disappear, because you're like, you just remind yourself, what am I worried about? I'm in a simulation. There's nothing to worry about. It's okay. Every single one of us is absolutely okay. If we just calm down and stop freaking out about the simulation, being like, okay, it's a simulation. What's out here doesn't matter, because I can live in here and recreate all of it. But I spend most of my time and my understanding in the real world, which is the world of imagination. This came first, this came afterwards. This is who I really am, not this thing, right? So deleting all the seriousness, lifting all of the heaviness out of this whole thing, taking us out of that fear is so important, and when we look at just simply the truth of reality, just the data, it's all there. It's right there. That this matter is not solid. It's not real. That means neither are our bodies, neither are our environment, neither are any of this. It's simply a projection, right? Projection. So we are more of a, when we make matter, because we make what we perceive as matter. We make what was basically these, I guess you could call it like bubbles of holographic information that is energy, that we create as energy. So it's all this information. And all of that information is everywhere. Everywhere all at once. It's in every single cell. You hear about creation is finished. And I know that probably the majority of you have heard that. Creation is finished. Well, where is it? It's right there in that holographic bubble inside of every single cell. Every version of reality, every version of you living every possible life that is already done and complete, all recorded right there inside of every single cell, which is why we can access it, which is why through our imagination, we can go through that database, of every movie you could ever imagine of our life. It's inside of every single cell, and we can access it, and we can use it to reimagine a new reality, a new life, either a completely new life or a new version of our current life. Because I think in all of this, that what this really comes down to for us, for me and you here now, is being on the edge, the cutting edge of consciousness, where we are breaking rules. We're getting rid of any kind of ideas of regulation, any kind of ideas of control. This is what we're after, because we're after freedom, right? I mean, we've already got it, but it's the realization of the freedom within us that already exists, that is there for the taking. So anything that smacks of limitations, anything that smacks of control, or, doing anything that would be lessening it, if there's any rules or anything like that, well, that's what we're finally being like, hold on a minute. There are no rules. And I think someone famously said that the only rule is that there are no rules. Who was a famous physicist? I'd have to go back in and find out who that was. But that's what we're here. We're here to break the rules, to break the old boundaries that we have had in consciousness going through here in this human experience, to break this down, to wake up. Because that's the point, is waking up to who we really are. So, which is why I think we have to sit with the realization of what this is, and finally begin to really pull ourselves out of the illusion that we've got going on here, instead of simply repeating every day, going through the motions, because we get stuck in those little hamster wheels where we're like, this is my life, this is my life, this is my life, this is my life. And it's like, no, hold on a second. I need to pull myself out of this once and for all and just sit with this, the reality of this. Because what we are is infinite. We are the infinite absolute of all things. So why would we have ever put any kind of limitations upon ourselves. Anything that smacks of this, whether it is here in this 3D reality or anywhere else. And I'm talking near-death experiences here, and that's something that's been, you know, I can tell, because when it's something, it's like, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That's not even logical. Like, nothing that was love would do certain things. So that's something I'm personally exploring that we'll be getting into in the future. But I think that this is not just a 3D level thing here that we're breaking apart, right? We're bringing in the truth of the true reality. We are birthing it through us into this world where we are breaking the rules. We're freeing ourselves once and for all to be the true creators that we truly are in all of this, you know, that we don't need to conform to anything, because how could what is infinite everything ever conform to anything when it is everything? So no rules, no regulations, no more limits on anything. Breaking free. This is what we're here to do in our consciousness for ourselves, is to finally break down all of these rules, all these regulations, anything that doesn't make sense, anything that makes you feel confined and not free, getting rid of it. So this is what we need to sit with this realization. Hold on a second. This is who I am. I'm already free because I am consciousness. I am imagination. There are no limits. Any limits that I'm perceiving in my head are ones that I need to get rid of. To be like, no, that can't control me. No, that can't do anything to me. Denying these things, coming in, smashing them to bits right here, and creating a new reality for every single one of us. So I hope you guys agree. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And thank you for being here once again with me on Rebuild Reality. Thank you for liking. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, for, of course, for commenting and sharing and being a part of this conversation with me while we break reality into shatter the whole thing. And I look forward, of course, as always, to seeing you guys here next time with me on Rebuild Reality.